Good morning. All right, welcome. Glad all of you are here. I'm Danny Spillmann. I'm going to be emceeing the morning part. And first of all, let me say thank you so much for being here. I know it's kind of challenging times right now for the industry. I know it's probably tough for some of you to be here, but it really means a lot for us here at Esri and from the Pug Steering Committee for you to join us. Now, this event has been going on now. This is the 26th year of the Petroleum GIS Conference and of the Pug Steering Group. And the whole tradition of this show has been about sharing and talking about things that you are doing with the technology. Esri's really just here to help facilitate and help show some of the changes or the advancements that have made in the technology. But this event's really about you. And it's about you sharing and getting to meet new people. So one of the biggest traditions at all Esri events is meeting someone new. So I want to take just a minute for you to meet your neighbor. And I'm sure you already know your neighbor, so turn around and meet the person behind you or in front of you. Now, a little bit about the conference. We're hashtagging under Esri Pug and Esri PUC. For those of you that are on Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or any of your other social apps that you like to use. How many of you have downloaded the apps for the conference? So you can go on the Apple Store or to Google Play, or you can actually go to the website. That's where you're going to find the most current agenda. Now, I've got to take just a minute to thank our sponsors. It's one way that we're able to keep the cost of the conference so low. Our platinum sponsors here on the screen, as well as all of our gold sponsors that come back every year. This is a big cost for them. You know, just like the industry, our exhibitors are making an extra effort to be here and help keep our costs low, include lunch, and put on a great conference. And one last one is Digital Globe. We're helping sponsor the social along with Esri. We're having 2 socials again this year. There's a social tonight, or actually this afternoon, in the exhibit hall. And then tomorrow night, we're trying a new location. Instead of going to the House of Blues, we'll be going to the Grove restaurant, which is right outside the front of this building. So it's across from the Hilton and right outside of here. So we encourage you to come to the Grove tomorrow night. Now, this conference really started with our users. And the Petroleum User Group is really the ones that are most responsible for helping put this event on. We've asked Scott Sitzman to join us on stage, Pug Chairman, to talk to you a little bit about what the Pug's been up to and about how they've been working for you to help improve what we're doing back at Esri. Scott, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Danny. And thank you all for coming. I do know that with restricted training and conferences, you may have had to pick a conference, and so glad you picked this one. Guess I got to find my clicker. And welcome to the 26th anniversary of the Pug. I wanted to give a quick status update and an overview of the Pug, but like Danny was saying, the biggest component of the Pug really is you. It really is the community. It's really coming to these events and sharing your stories of how you're using GIS in the industry, how you're taking advantage of the software that Esri provides, and being able to network and connect to your peers. A cornerstone of the Pug has always been that relationship, a technical relationship with Esri to ensure that the software that they're providing really does meet our needs of the petroleum industry, and those needs do change. So we'll have a technical session on Thursday, like we've done in the past. It'll be a Pug workshop for technical, where we'll continue that effort to have that dialogue with Esri on what we specifically need from the software. I did want to highlight a couple of the projects that we have been working on. The first project is around the professional discipline. That too is going to be a Pug workshop, and it is tomorrow morning at 8:30. It'll have an introduction from Texas A&M on some of the work they're doing to actually help educate and train their students and align some of those teachings to the petroleum industry. And we did post a survey on Pug Online, so hopefully some of you took advantage and actually posted your opinions, and Texas A&M is going to present those results at the beginning of that session. And I guess we have done a panel discussion before for the professional discipline. I'm excited this year that the panel is actually going to be made up of a set of major oil companies. We do have Exxon, Shell, BP, Chevron, and ConocoPhillips are going to participate that. So you can tell it isn't of an interest of how we develop the careers of the GIS professional. The second project is more aligns with my nature. I'm very results oriented, and the geospatial workflows is a project we started a couple of years ago. We presented really the underlying concepts around workflows and took that with the pitfalls of how do you balance it with competitive advantage and proprietary nature, and developed a template which we presented last year with an example of how we could document workflows for our industry. This year, Chris Shanks from Statoil, who is leading that effort, has taken us to deliver a set of 6 or 7 workflows that we want feedback from. So the workshop on that really is going to be to go over some of the workflows we've published and get feedback on whether that's meeting the needs before we continue to develop more of those workflows out. Just a little bit about the organization of the PUG. There is a steering committee. It is global, and it is elected. So May is our election month, which is coming up just around the corner. The first 2 weeks, you can nominate or self-nominate to run for an elected position for the steering committee. The second 2 weeks in May is when we actually cast ballots or have our ballots to be elected to the steering committee. Now, another component is the regional PUGs. We do have regional PUGs around the globe that meet locally. And in fact, I was at the Houston Regional PUG event just earlier this month in April. And somebody came up to me and they said, you know, the steering committee's, but the regional PUGs is where the action is. And you know, it's right, because not everybody can come to Houston, so the regional PUGs in Europe or in Asia or around the United States, we have regional PUGs where people can gather locally and share their stories about how they're using GIS. This is the current PUG steering committee. So for those on the steering committee that are in attendance, if you could stand, and if we could recognize that group for the hard work that they put in all year round. It does take a lot of work because no longer do we just do the conference, but we do manage the LinkedIn communications and the year-round discussions and blogs that are a part of the PUG. And as always, if you have any questions, really all this is documented on the PUG Online. How to create the workflows, how to submit workflows, how to give feedback, how to run for elected positions. Now, it is my honor to give Melissa Denning an award, and I'll have Melissa come up for the PUG Outstanding Achievement. So each year we do give out an award, and her involvement with the PUG organization and with GIS has been for quite a few years, and she is currently the president of the Houston Regional Pug. Yes.
Thank you, Scott. I'd like to thank the Pug Committee for the award, but I would also like to say, this is a group effort. The regional Pugs aren't run by one person. I really want to thank Michelle Schultz, who has also spent a lot of time making the Houston Pug successful. And over the years, we've had various committee members who've also contributed in a lot of different ways. All of our speakers, our sponsors, it takes a lot of people to make the regional Pug successful. And I'd encourage all of you to join your regional Pug. If you've ever wondered, how can I get more involved with Pug? The regional Pugs are a great way to do it. And it can be anything from hosting a meeting to speaking at a meeting, even just coming up with ideas to help the regional Pug committees think of what to do next. So we'd love to hear what you're interested in, and I know the Houston Pug, we could use your help, and probably the other regional Pugs could too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Scott. So if you guys get a chance, you saw all their pictures of everybody that's on the Pug Steering Committee. I'm sure you remember every picture that you saw. But if you do see those people this week, be sure to tell them thank you. They do spend a lot of time. Even before this event, months before this event, they're on the phone for hours going over the papers, the conference, the activities that are going to happen here.